I think what we're all experiencing now is a very strange world where what used to be traditionally emphasized as learning as much technical skills and expertise as possible is now shifting because AI has now taken on a lot of the technical skills that in the past we have focused so much on learning, right? And so it's this very strange situation where we find ourselves in where really the skills that we need in order to thrive in the next 5 to 10, 15, and more years aren't these traditional hard skills, these technical skills, but what's typically known as soft skills. But I like to call performance multipliers.
Oh,
And these performance multipliers are going to become so much more critical for us to lean into as we look ahead as business owners, as entrepreneurs, in terms of how we can stay relevant to our clients in the years ahead. Because these are the things that AI just simply cannot replicate. And so I think it's time for us to get really serious about how we're going to lean into these performance multipliers and develop those and focus less on the technical skills building.
if you've been thinking that you need to get more clients and grow your business by getting accredited, by adding a few more letters at the end of your name, because the emerging world is innovative, because it's really getting serious about AI and authority, I want you to think twice. I want you to take those concepts about hard skills and put them up on a shelf for a minute. That's why we have Nicole here today. She's going to talk to us a little bit about herself, why this topic matters to her, and why it should matter to you. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hi, Shauna. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to be here. I'm delighted to talk to you today. I am so passionate about this topic. So, I'm the founder and CEO of Hello Moxy, and we're a community that supports women in tech, women in underrepresented industries. And I think what we're all experiencing now is a very strange world where what used to be traditionally emphasized as learning as much technical skills and expertise as possible is now shifting because AI has now taken on a lot of the technical skills that in the past we have focused so much on learning, right? So, computer programming, engineering, a lot of the marketing skills that traditionally have been handled manually, like even copywriting, graphics, all of those things. A lot of these very highly technical skills are now being offloaded to AI, and that's going to continue to increase in the future. And so it's this very strange situation where we find ourselves in where really the skills that we need in order to thrive in the next 5 to 10, 15, and more years aren't these traditional soft skills, but aren't these traditional hard skills, these technical skills, but what's typically known as soft skills. But I like to call performance multipliers because let's be honest, soft skills just sounds just like soft. What's soft about leadership and curiosity and agility and resilience? Like there's nothing soft about these skills, right? And so I love to rephrase this as performance multipliers.
Oh,
And these performance multipliers are going to become so much more critical for us to lean into as we look ahead as business owners, as entrepreneurs, in terms of how we can stay relevant to our clients in the years ahead. Because these are the things that AI just simply cannot replicate. They cannot replicate your curiosity as a human. They cannot replicate your ability to make meaning out of things and take your experience. They can't replicate your ability to pivot and be agile and resilient. They certainly can't replicate your ability to collaborate cross functionally with a lot of different people and teams and perspectives and have the emotional intelligence to be able to navigate those really difficult, challenging projects. And so I think it's time for us to get really serious about how we're going to lean into these performance multipliers and develop those and focus less on the technical skills building. And so that's really what I'm very passionate about, is building community around this, because that's where we can really grow and differentiate ourselves, is through this community building process and developing these skills. So yeah.
Nicole, you got me so excited because as you made me remember a time when I was in university when I was learning about psychology. My first degree is in psychology. I did psychology, neuroscience, behavioral psychology, that sort of thing. Really fun, like human-centered psyche stuff. Loved it. And everybody in their BScs or anything like that would always call psychology the soft science.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And so
Yeah.
like you totally rubbed me the right way when you were like soft skills. There's nothing soft about these skills. These are performance enhancers. Because I remember saying the same thing about psychology. It's like, this isn't a soft science, something that's just like it's not that important. It is literally the fundamentals of who we are and how we process your hard sciences.
Yes,
So this
absolutely.
matters so much more than just thinking about it as soft. Just like and there's soft is the place where you land, right?
Mm.
It's
Mm.
that I don't know. I just get so worked up about it because it means so much more than even words can describe. And I love how you call them performance enhancers. Can you imagine for a moment, just take a moment to everyone who's joined us here for this conversation, and you all know how excited I get about these things. Take a moment to imagine the architect, the engineer, the NASA scientists. I'm trying to think of different places where women have been traditionally underrepresented. But also think about the teacher, think about the author, think about the CMO, right? Think about these people. Can you imagine them for a moment not being curious?
Yes.
Can you imagine them not thinking about the other person in the room, not being empathetic and understanding that, that person at NASA who's calculating the trajectory of this, that, and the other, and they're like, yeah, well, I don't care if they're comfortable in their seat as they're skyrocketing to the moon. Like, no, that would just be ridiculous. Like, it's unfathomable. How can you possibly think that those types of skills are soft, dismissible?
Yeah. And I think these are skills that traditionally women are naturally gifted at. We're so gifted at empathy, at team building, at collaborating. And that's why I think it's so important. These are such powerful leadership skills that we naturally tend to gravitate towards as strengths anyways. This is our time to really like push forward and not be shy about it, and just lean into them with confidence, and know that that unique perspective, those human skills that we bring, are going to be very clear differentiators for us as the world continues to get stranger. Like I've noticed for myself, and I hear this all the time with the women that we talk to in community, is that people are craving human connection more than ever before. And that's only going to increase as the world continues to, like, this digital world continues to isolate us, right? People are going to be craving this connection. And so, how can we build these bridges of connection with the people around us and develop these human skills? It's like really leaning into this emotional intelligence and really trying to focus in on that so that we can continue to make the human still part of the equation, and feed that craving that we're all having to just connect with each other. So
Absolutely. And one of the main concerns that I'm finding that the people who are in my social circles and in my professional circles, they're oftentimes either concerned about or excited about, or some combination of the two, the emergence, of course, of AI. And not just the emergence of it, because AI has been around for a long time, but more so like the saturation of AI into every single aspect of what we're doing. And I think this is kind of what you're leaning on when you're saying that we're craving real, authentic human connection, is because we literally make a phone call and it's a bot. It's a recording, automation. You go online, you want help, you go to the help center. It's a bot. It's an AI generated thing that gives you a list of responses. And that's fine. I understand why it's there. And I understand that it's creating space and time for business owners. I use AI all the time. I love AI.
Yeah.
But I also understand as a user, like as the person who's making the call, looking for help with a tool. I also understand that deep desire to just have somebody empathize with the fact that you couldn't figure something out, or that
Yeah.
you need to make the doctor's appointment, or whatever it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, very true. I also, yeah, keep going. I wanted to hear what you had
I
to
was
say.
just gonna ask about your opinion on that, and also on like how we can navigate that from both sides of the coin. But before you get to that, I'd love to hear what you were about to say, because I feel like that's going to feed into it.
Mm,
If I have a
yeah,
thought.
yes. So I was just gonna share. Oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. So I'm glad you have an editor on this because I'm trying to find it again. Oh my goodness, I'm glad this isn't live. Is that with AI? Oh my goodness, where was I going with this, Shauna? Oh my
You know
gosh,
what?
this is the worst.
This is the beautiful thing about this, and I'm gonna tell you flat out, and everybody who's here, like joining us for the conversation, what we do on Marketing Rebels. This is one of the
Yeah.
things I love about our show, is that most of what we're recording here is live to tape. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we don't make edits. I was just describing to you that sometimes my son was sick the last week. He came in and he had a top off. He was in his underpants, and I was like, oh, okay, we can't include that. So sometimes you'll see mini edits, but I think it's really important, and this is a part of what we're talking about. It's so important to show this human side. It's so important to show that, hey, guess what? When we're having conversations, sometimes somebody, usually me, will go on a tangent, and we'll lose our train of thought. And I think that part of all of this is something that, like, I wouldn't personally want to take out of our conversation, because that makes people feel seen, heard, and understood. And that's what we're lacking. That's what something like AI in certain
Yeah.
contexts
Mm.
separates us from the
Yeah.
humanity of it all.
Yeah. I think what I was going to share, it came back to me, and it's all about ethics and values. So AI will never have any sort of value system like a human does. They just don't. They don't have it's not an ethical being, right? And as humans, like the fact that we have the ability to look at a situation and ethically evaluate that that situation is so critical, and that's going to become even more important. It's another human skill that we need to be really leaning into, is like, what are my values? Like, what do I value personally and professionally, and how can I apply my values critically to AI and how this is being used? I'm going to give you an example. I just, in my small business, for the small business owners out there, I have an AI consultant that works with our team at Hello Moxy to build out custom GPTs that really help us with a lot of our workflows that we do every day. We do a lot of marketing. We have marketing custom GPTs that help us, create copy, etc. There's a lot of value in this. And the other day, I got this proposal from our AI consultant, and he wanted to take he wanted to take things to the next level, and had mapped out this like very uh, this workflow essentially that would automate nearly everything that we do in our business. So there would be an intake GPT that would intake all of our podcast transcripts and all of our content, so that we could easily search, for example, and pull out timestamps and clips and easily repurpose content, like a database that could be easily, you could grab content from. But then he had proposed this other process where basically from there, there would be a GPT that would create meaning from this content, that it would be able to create resources and all of these other pieces of content related to it, and then have it automate the producing of content, basically, so that all of this is all being done, by AI, basically an agent. And I would say this was a moment for me as a business owner where I had to decide ethically, where do I draw the line? How involved do I want AI to be in every aspect of my business? And where do I say, nope, this is something that I still want a human to do? I still want a human to be able to make meaning of the content that we're creating and decide what we're posting and when we're posting it, et cetera, rather than outsourcing that entirely to an agent. And I think as business owners, these are the questions we have to be thinking about: is how much and how do we want AI to be involved in our businesses, and how much do we want some of these human things to still be part of what we're doing every day, and leaning into that. And so the ethics is so huge in part of this, and something all business owners need to be thinking about.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think, and I think it can be really challenging when you come to also just that the idea behind living as a lifestyle entrepreneur. I want
Yeah.
to outsource as much as I can so that I can do my own thing. Sure. And where is my line, my ethical line of embracing that, of really practicing what I preach and leaning into the lifestyle of it and allowing my knowledge of tools to give me that opportunity, which is so
Yeah.
important. This is why we use GPTs and all of these different things. So where's that line? But then also understanding that it is a tool.
Mhm.
And what that means is that it can be, and often truly is, flawed. So I've had many instances where my GPT, my agent, will pull out quotes and content from something I've given it to it. And I happen to know because I'm the one who created the information that it had, right? So like I
Yeah.
created the original information. So it gives me this quote and I'm like, friend, that doesn't sound right.
Yep.
And I go back, I say, where did you get this from? And it's like, oh, I pulled it from right here. And I'm like, that is literally not what it says.
Yeah.
So
So
with
true. It
having that
hallucinates all
human
the
eye and
time.
that mind and that discerning position, just from a tactical, practical point of view,
Mhm.
that doesn't work.
Yes.
there just seems to need to be that discernment, and you cannot get that from a computer.
Yes, I completely agree because it will hallucinate all the time. The
Yes.
other thing I've been really thinking about, Shauna, is this there's something about the struggle. Okay. Like it's so easy for us if we have a problem to go to ChatGPT or Claude and just be like, oh, give me some ideas about, how I could run this marketing campaign. How could I structure it? How could I set it up? Or how can I solve this problem? But there's something about the human struggle of trying to face a challenge and creatively figure out a solution that gets lost when we default to just constantly just going straight to AI to solve it for us. And I think that we have to be really careful and mindful about like the importance of the struggle, like that the product is going to be so much more uh, beautiful. The art is going to be more powerful. It's going to impact people more when we are struggling through it rather than defaulting to ChatGPT. I'll give you an example. I am in the middle of writing a play. Okay, I've been working on this play for 9 months. It's a beautiful passion project. And I have this dream of it being on a stage one day. I love it. And I go to this playwriting class and I have a mentor. And every week I have to bring pages to this class. And I cast my play and they read the pages out loud and they give me feedback. And there is so much struggle in this creatively for me. I have to hear the feedback and then go through and like literally edit and try to figure out how am I going to make this work or how do I incorporate more of this feedback into this play, right? I could go to ChatGPT and I could be like, "Can you please rewrite this
Right.
scene
Play.
for me? I got this feedback. Can you do this?" And there's what am I becoming as a
Inspired.
human? What am I becoming as a human if I am basically relinquishing that struggle? Because there's something in the process of becoming, like there's something in that act of me like struggling that is character building, that makes me more human, that makes me create better art and work than if I were just to outsource it all entirely, you know?
Yes, 100%, 100%. And the reason I'm fussing here. If anybody's joining us who's just listening to the audio, know that I'm just fussing around my office right now because you've inspired me. Because you brought forth. No, no, that's not it. This is. I'm looking for an envelope. I have an envelope in here. This is my envelope about linguistics because I like linguistics.
Ooh.
So this one says syllabic consonants because we were learning about that. But anyways, that's besides the point. I have an envelope around here that has all of so I did similar to you. It wasn't a playwright. I wasn't doing plays. I was doing creative writing, and I
Yeah.
took a long program for creative writing, and we had to do the same thing. We had to bring things forth, get the feedback, and it was had to be constructive, of course, because I mean you're not going to be
Yeah.
mean about something, but you give your
Right.
opinions and different things, and you'd also get some really great feedback. Some feedback that was just like so much praise and lovely
Mm.
information. And we tried to make it a sandwich, right? Like a feedback sandwich.
Yeah.
But I kept it. I kept it. And this was from over a decade ago. And I
Wow.
kept it because that feedback fuels who I am and how I show up as a human being. And I read it every once in a while, which is why I'm surprised that I can't find it. I'm sure that it's in that box up there. But
Yeah.
it's just it really turns you into a better human being, having that struggle, like you say. And I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many times I've loved to take my my sticky notes and I'll put them on my wall or on my desk, and I'll move things around and understand the process behind the decisions made that you can't get when you're going into an AI tool. You
Yeah.
can't understand necessarily the decisions that led to that result. And
Mm.
that can be problematic for a number of reasons as well, not just on that personal growth aspect of things, but also, again, I'm going to go back to tactical practical. If something goes wrong, or if you don't get the result you were looking for,
Mhm.
deciding which tweaks to make will be a lot more challenging if you don't understand the decisions necessarily that were made to get to
Mm.
that end result. And you won't know that if you've just defaulted to letting AI choose for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I mean, I think what you're talking about when you share this experience of getting feedback from your class, it's about this collaboration and community, right? Like as we collaborate in community with others, there's this beautiful learning process and transformation process that's not just transforming you, but transforming the group where everybody's kind of like growing together in this beautiful way that you lose if you're not in community, you know? And as we think about like the skills we need to have in the future, of course, AI, upskilling is going to be part of that. What better place to learn that in community with others where you can together figure out like ethically, how am I making these decisions in my business on how to use AI, and what tools are you using to upskill and what tools are you not using? And together, like we can learn much more quickly and collaboratively the more we talk about these problems in community with each other. And I think what you hit the nail on the head too is about nuance. Like AI will never understand nuance like a human can, and
Yes.
that we can't lose that in our work. It's such a critical differentiator. And I've been doing a lot of research from the World Economic Forum on what does the future of jobs look like in the next 5, 10 years, right? They just put out a report this year on what are the top skills that employers are looking for now and that are going to be increasing in the future. And it's incredibly telling that the skills that are going to increase in demand are curiosity, social influence, leadership, collaboration. All of these performance multipliers are only going to increase in need, and analytical skills,
Yes.
all of those things. And so the more we can really focus in on those skills and develop them in community with others, it's really going to set us ahead and set us apart from the bots, I'll say. Yeah.
Well, and not just from the bots, but from the people who have consciously decided to lean on the bots to
Yeah.
separate themselves from that those human skills, from that humanity, from the performance enhancing
Mhm.
skills that you're not going to be able to, you're just not going to be able to grow if you've not allowed yourself to do so. And so if you are a business owner,
Mhm.
this is actually a really great example. You've got Sally and you've got Jane. They're both sitting there. One's embracing AI
Mhm.
in a really dependent way, and one is embracing AI in a critical thinking, um, ethical
Mhm.
consideration type of way, right?
Yeah.
You're really going to see Sally's going to struggle because she's just like, AI can do it for me.
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't need it.
questioning what's coming out of it with a thoughtful, discerning out.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. And then, of course, Jane's going to be like, well, hold on a minute. Where's the pizzazz? Where's the me? Where's the thing that's sticky? That's the part where, when I'm doing my work, when I'm helping people to really step into their personal brand, into their
Yeah.
professional brand, and show up. Do we use AI? Absolutely. Why would I not take those little
Mhm.
shortcuts here and there? Why would I not give people the opportunity to use an agent that allows them to expand their brain? That's
Yeah.
why I have things like the AI Clarity Kit, which is a
Mhm.
resource that I offer to anybody who wants it. Hey, use this. It'll allow you to think differently about your voice and your message,
Yeah.
right? That's why I offer it, but I specifically program it to not solve the problem necessarily, but to expand upon your own knowledge of who you are and how you show up. totally
That's such a
different.
great distinction. It's not solving the problem, it's helping you think bigger and broader about what the problem is so that you can come to the decision. That's
Jane's
yeah.
going to be a millionaire. Jane's going to keep going. She's going to keep learning. She's going to think of innovative ways
Mhm.
to use the tools, including
Yeah.
AI, that she has. Sally's going to be like, well, AI is only going to take me as far as it'll take me based on the inputs of other people.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head that like, it's very important that we're not Luddites about this. We need to embrace AI in order to survive. That is the reality. And there has been beautiful things that have happened as I've used AI in my business. And so there is a place for it, but it's again, it's being very strategic and analytical and discerning about how you're setting it up and how you're using it and really having that ethical mindset about using it. And I loved what you shared about the personal brand. You said, "Where's me?" And that is, as business owners, that is going to be a key differentiator because
Yes.
there's nobody else out there that is you, that shows up the way that you do, that looks the way that you do, that talks the way that you do, that has your own unique life experience. And it's going to become even more critical for you to create and build your personal brand to stand out in the future because people are going to be making decisions on who they work with based on your personal brand and whether or not they're connecting with you on a human to human level. That's already happening, but it's only going to increase because people are going to be really craving that human connection. If they feel like connected with a person behind the brand, that's how they're going to be making their decisions more and more in the future. So,
Absolutely. We see that already. And this is the cool thing.
mhm,
I feel like I've been talking about this for well over a year now. And we
yeah,
can even go. I encourage you guys, everybody who's joined us for this conversation here, I encourage you to go back in some of the episodes that we've done in season 2 in particular, maybe even season 1, where I spoke about how that is how people are making decisions, even in like a larger consumerist
yeah,
space. So, and we can see the big brands leveraging that. Uh, Kleenex, Nike, Adidas, all those things. They're not saying buy our shoes because you're going to be prestigious. They're not doing that as much anymore. They're saying, look how much we care about the athletes and their relationship with their mom.
mhm,
That is making you feel something as a human and making you
mhm,
go, wow, you know what? If I invest in whatever this athletic brand is, that really in and of itself objectively has no emotional value. It's a shoe,
yeah,
right? But they just told me a story about a mom who stuck it through with their athlete until they made it to the Olympics, and they were the ones there to hug them at the end. Now
yeah.
I'm buying their shoe. Like, that's why
So
you make that
true.
choice.
Yes, it's all about that emotional, relational connection to the story. It's the story that's part of it. Like, how can we bake more storytelling into our personal brand and our business and tell more stories about our stories, about the stories of our customers, and just like get really focused in on storytelling first. So that's because
AI
that's what
can't.
resonates
AI
with
doesn't know.
people.
AI
Right?
doesn't know the human
Yeah.
connection. AI doesn't have a relationship with its mom. Like, it's just, it's not sitting there being Alexa, my friend in the kitchen, isn't sitting there going, "Oh yes, my creator who made me in November 6th." Like, it's not sitting there doing that. We are as humans, and if you can't embrace those skills of empathy and connection and curiosity, you're never going to be able to integrate that into all of the things that you're doing, including using the tools that you have. And you're not going to be able to
Yes.
elevate yourself to this space of growth, of expansion,
Mm.
right? You're going to be stuck, and that's not where
Yeah,
we want to be.
totally. And I would also say that, like, if you think about what we have that separates us from AI, we have a body. We have a body that feels, that senses, that makes, like that is like we can go outside and we can feel the grass. We can hear the birds sing. We can, smell a flower. You know,
Crunch the snow
AI,
this year for me,
yes.
right? At the time of this recording, you said grass, and I said, "What is that?"
Crunching the snow, isn't that such a beautiful sensation to hear it, to feel it under your feet? Like, I went to a toy store and there was, like, one of those, like, little squishy,
Yes.
Neato things, and it was like snow crunching, and I squished it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like snow crunching," and my daughter was like, "This is so satisfying." Like, the sensory experience of being human that gives us so much richness to the way we think and process, that's lost on AI. And if we think about how can we create more space to really be in nature and feel with our senses and get curious about what our body is telling us and sensing, like literally being in stillness. I love to go out and sit on my hammock and just like feel the breeze on my face, listen to the birds. What is my body telling me? Do I have tightness in my chest? Is my stomach, do I have a pit in my stomach? Like people may say this is hooey, but connecting with yourself in that way and really getting curious about what your body is telling you is how you reconnect with your own voice and get the clarity to know what it is that you're supposed, what your values are, how you want to show up in the world, what your personal brand looks like, and that value making, that like authentic, what are my values, and how that's what's going to separate us from. And the way we do that is just really trying to intentionally like pay attention to our bodies and our sensations and use that information in everything that we're doing.
I'm just sitting here like I'm soaking it in because I this is exactly it, right? This is it.
Mhm.
This is the thing that I do in my business with my clients. This is what we take them on this journey
Mm,
of self-discovery and of professional discovery
mhm.
and refinement and clarity. And it's just it feels good. Like when you talked about your hammock and I was like, oh, my hammock. I miss my hammock. I love my hammock.
I
And
know. I haven't sat in mine for a while either. It's too cold, so I
well,
dream about it.
I don't know if you've got snow where you're at, but I have lots and lots of snow right now. And so I shovel and I shovel, and you get tired of shoveling, but not like in a negative way, but like literally physically, you're like, oh, I got to take a break. And I like the physical exertion. I think it's great. So, but I need to breathe every once in a while. So I'll stop and I hold my shovel and I lean on it a little bit. And the beautiful thing about winter is that everything's a little hushed.
Yes.
Everything's a little quiet. And so I often will sit and it's the same sensation. So if you get the opportunity, a little bit of physical exertion, pause. I don't care if you stand or sit, but I like to look to the top of the trees and watch as they move. And it doesn't matter if they're moving a lot or a little, just watching as they move. And it just gives you that same sensation of being able to embody where you are
Mhm.
present and now. And that helps you to lean into, is this in alignment with me? Is this the direction I want to go? And then this can help you when you're deciding that ethical line of
Yes.
when do I use AI and when do I stop, and how much do I integrate AI into who I am. Now that said, okay, so I have to say it. I don't want to say it, but I have to say it. We could talk all day. We literally could talk about this all day. I have in my notes even that about how all of this can impact women's empowerment, confidence, imposter
Mhm.
syndrome. And I want to invite everyone who's joined us today to think about that, to think about
Mhm.
how this very much does impact all of those things. And I want you to think about it in a large scale. And then I want you to think about it for yourself. How is this impacting me with regards to whether or not I feel confident in who I am, whether or not I'm experiencing imposter syndrome, and of course, how am I feeling empowered to really make an impact on this world, a positive impact on this world.
Mm.
The reason I'm asking you to think about that is because I want to hear about it. I want you to tell
Mhm.
me about it in the comments. I want you to tell me what you're thinking about. This is an important part. We just talked about the importance of community, of collaboration, of conversation, and making sure that that humanness is developed and not lost at the expense of convenience of AI. That's not where we're at. It's going to become inconvenient if you don't do it ethically.
Mm.
Now, I paused us there because I want to invite you, Nicole, to share with everybody something that will allow them to take this conversation, which has been
Mm.
robust and deep and meaningful, and put it into something tangible and actionable
Mhm.
for them, something they can really hold in their hands and leverage. Now, before I ask you to do that, because I know that's a big ask, because we did talk about that, I want to remind everybody here that these conversations happen every single week. And I want you to join us, not only in the comments here, but also for the next conversations to be had. Click the bell, subscribe, make sure that you hear when the next one comes out so that you're like, oh man, I get to talk to Sally now. Or Jane, whatever. I want you to be excited about it. I want you to come here. I want you to join in our conversation. So yes, subscribe, comment, like, share, give us a review. Tell us what you think. Tell us if we're full of baloney, because I want to hear that too. Tell us what else you want to talk about.
Mm.
You have such a brilliant mind, and I want to hear what you have to say. And I want to explore, what does this look like for you?
Mm.
Maybe we can help. With that, I'll get off my soapbox because I'm feeling that way. I feel like I could probably be on the soapbox all day with you, Nicole. I want you to tell the people what they need to hear.
Yes, what I'd love to share with you as kind of my closing, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible. But
Okay.
it's a transformational journey called the Moxy Method, which came from my own lived experience. It's based in neuroscience. And everything we've talked about really comes back to this 5-stage journey, which starts with embodied mindfulness, what we've just talked about, reconnecting with yourself, reconnecting with your body, so you can really know what your values are, who you are as a person, because there's so much noise out there that's telling you what to think and how to be. It never ends. It's only going to increase. It's so hard for us to know what's true and what's not true. So the first step is to really get curious about yourself, get curious about your body, your sensations, what they're telling you, and that's going to help you create meaning and values and the ethics to be able to make these decisions. What naturally happens is you get more curious, you lean into your strengths and you start developing your strengths, which improves your confidence. The more you're doing the things that are your natural gifts, the more confident you are to continue to lean into those, which naturally leads you into this next stage, which is stepping into fear. And so, as you gain confidence by leaning into your strengths, you naturally are going to start doing more uncomfortable things because you have the confidence to know that you can do it and be successful. And then, what organically happens as you continue to step into fear is you're using your voice more. You're stepping up and using your voice in the ways that align most with your strengths. And as you step up and use your voice more, other people around you hear you. Wherever is you're showing up, whether it's engineering or writing or speaking or whatever your natural strengths are in your voice. And as you do that, you naturally become a mentor and a light for other people to follow. So that's my final invitation for you is to first get curious about yourself, about what your body's telling you. And as you do that, you're going to develop this beautiful intuition and discernment that is so part of who you are and cultivate it so that it becomes this very strong, powerful way for you to make meaning of the world and navigate and develop these human skills. And that through that process, you'll be on this journey to building your strength, stepping into fear, using your voice, and becoming a light and a mentor for others to follow. So that is my final invitation. And I would love for you to follow our podcast, Hello Moxy. We interview women who share the women in history who've inspired them. It's wonderful. We have such rich conversations and would love to have you tune in and see how you can be inspired by these amazing women. And thank you, Shauna, for having me be a guest on your show. It's been a pleasure.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm the one who has gotten all the pleasure from this. We've dove into so many things, and I'm just tingling with all of the good feelings that you've kind of allowed to bloom within me. And I'm hoping that everybody who's joined us today for this conversation is kind of on the same page. I know that we're all passionate. I know that we're all excited to share our wealth of knowledge and experiences with the world. And this is a great first step. This has been such a joy. Now, to all of you who are still with us right now, make sure that you go listen to the Moxy show, because honestly, it's one of those things that when you listen to it, especially as a woman, you just feel connected. Hello Moxy makes you feel connected, and with who you are, with the feminine divine, with history, and with present, and with just the community that is this matriarchal space of beauty. I just love it. Plus, if you follow along with Hello Moxy, you might see me on there, which is exciting. And I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to talk about right now, because you might be able to guess. So maybe there's another little CTA for you guys. Share in the comments what you think I'm going to talk about on Hello Moxy. Anyways, with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure you join us next week. We'll chat soon. See you now.